Draft the memo, write the title and 3 bullet lines. If you cannot call the client, write the first 2 sentences and dial voicemail. If you cannot record the video, set the camera and read the cold open. Once the goal is not quality, the goal is motion under pressure. The nervous system learns that surge means start and start means relief. You are training a reflex that beats rumination. Step 3. Block the engine and guard the channel. Schedule 2 or 3 deep work blocks per day. The subject line is an output, not an activity. Page 1, draft 1, call 1, test 1. Each block runs in cycles of 20 minutes on and 5 off, and each on cycle with a micro deliverable saved and named. Use simple version numbers: version 1, version 2. Stop at the ceiling. Even if beauty calls, beauty grows through passes, not through one heroic sprint. Remove switching by freezing tools for the quarter. 1 writing app, 1 research folder, 1 board. 4 tasks, 1 calendar. Do not shop for new software during blocks. If the task requires material, gather it in a 5-minute staging window before the first cycle, then stop gathering and build. Protect the channel with 3 constraints: 1 tool per task, 1 location per mode, 1 device per block. Phone stays out of room, notifications are off, browser holds only the 1 tab you need. Boredom is not a problem, it is a toll that buys depth. Post the rule on the wall. If the day explodes, run micro blocks: 2 minute start, then 10-minute core. Raise frequency, not drama. Progress under stress is the skill you are actually building. Step 4. Make proof visible and share it weekly. What gets counted gets repeated. The ledger converts effort into belief. Record minutes, drafts, calls, tests, releases. Use a simple table with date, start, end, outcome, remark. Keep it plain so you will use it daily. At shutdown, write 3 lines: what I shipped, what I learned, what I will do first tomorrow. At the named hour, schedule the next start and name the first move. Do not leave tomorrow for the morning mind. The morning mind is a negotiator. The evening mind can be a designer. Once a week, send the ledger to 1 trusted partner who respects evidence. Ask for 2 numbers only: planned outputs and outputs delivered. Ask for 1 adjustment for next week and nothing else. No therapy, only engineering. When you miss a target, do not hide the miss. Pay the never zero floor. That day, 1 paragraph, 1 email, 1 test. The floor protects identity and identity protects the next start. Create a visible scoreboard for yourself. Count only finished units per week, not hours. Show the streak and the current week target. A streak makes courage cheaper because you will act to avoid breaking it. Treat the scoreboard like a product with a weekly review: what created motion, what created leaks, what will you change next cycle. Step 5. Build feedback and iteration into the week. Fear shrinks under reality. The fastest cure is early small exposure. Pick a stakeholder and ship imperfect work early, then tighten through short loops. Use a simple cadence: day 1 draft and send, day 2 data and revise, day 3 record or demo, day 4 polish, day 5 publish and review. Keep loops modest in scope so the emotional price per loop is low. Use a framing model for all outward communication. 3 executive questions: impact, risk. Next step, write 1 honest sentence under each before you polish anything. This frame creates clarity for others and for you. It keeps you from drowning in detail and keeps the conversation on outcomes, not on effort. When feedback arrives, apply the 2-gate rule. If the comment improves the stated metric, accept without debate. If it targets personal style outside scope, park it for later. This protects momentum while still learning. Use a changelog to record what you adjusted and why. The log builds a map of how your work quality evolves so belief grows from evidence. And every week with a compact retrospective answer. 3 prompts: what did we intend, what did we ship, what will we change. This is the rhythm that turns action into compounding skill over a quarter. The map of small changes is the story of a new identity. Daily field guide. Wake, read in card aloud once, then write 1 sentence: today I will ship X by Y time. Start block, close door, start timer, speak, start script, open smallest file type, ugly first lines. Work, run 2 or 3 cycles, end each with a named micro deliverable, save and version. Midday, send 1 small proof to a real person, outline, draft, screenshot, clip, ask for a single reaction. Afternoon, second block, bookend with the same ritual. If life intrudes, do a micro block so never zero holds. Shut down ledger, 3 lines and schedule tomorrow. First move, read the aim card again, then stop input. Scripts for moments that usually derail you. When mind says this is not enough, say small today compounds large tomorrow, begin. When mind says you are late, say late is still earlier than never, begin. When mind says others are better, say evidence grows only from attempts, begin. When mind says wait for clarity, say action creates clarity, begin. When mind says do more research, say research after first draft, begin. Keep these lines on a card, keep 1 in your pocket and 1 on the screen. The goal is to lower the cost of state change at the exact spike where old habit would win. Numbers to track for 30 days. Deep work minutes per day, aim for 90 to 180. Units shipped per week, aim for 3 to 5 small outputs. 2-minute starts executed, count every surge that became motion. Feedback cycles closed per week, aim for 2 or more. Identity statements written daily. Note how belief moves as proof accumulates. Do not gamify beyond these. Keep the system light enough that you will maintain it while life is messy. Edge cases and how to win them. If travel or meetings, remove the morning block. Run 2 micro blocks on the margins of the day. A 10-minute core after wake. A 10-minute core before sleep. Protect, never zero. If a task is ambiguous, write a 1-page brief with impact risk next step. Then start the brief as a machete for thick work. If you hit a wall, use the 5-minute salvage. Write what you know, write what you do not know. Write the next question that would move the work. Send that question to one person who can answer. This keeps momentum public and real. If emotion spikes, use box breathing for 1 minute. Then begin from the smallest atomic action. Always choose smaller over later. A short example week to model. Monday morning, draft memo skeleton with 3 key questions. Afternoon, gather 2 facts and 1 quote. Send outline to manager. Tuesday morning, write first pass of 2 sections. Afternoon, record a rough walkthrough for yourself, not for others yet. Wednesday morning, revise using data and delete weak paragraphs. Afternoon, send updated version to manager and request 1 comment on impact only. Thursday morning, incorporate comment and cut 10% words. Afternoon, polish visuals and run 1 dry read aloud. Friday morning, publish to the group or client. Afternoon, write the 3-line review and log what changed your process this cycle. Reset Sunday evening with the aim card and calendar blocks already placed. The spirit of this 5-step system. It is not about hero moments, it is about repeatable micro courage under ordinary pressure. It respects the reality that fear will visit daily. It assumes discipline is design, not personality. It proves belief with receipts. It builds a body of work that compounds. It creates a life where the wind of fear fills the sail instead of capsizing the boat. Resistance wears many masks and all of them sound reasonable. Your job is not to debate every mask. Your job is to run counters that are simple, observable, and fast. The goal is stability under pressure, so fear becomes fuel, not fog. Temptation 1. Perfection before progress. Pattern. The mind insists on 1 more study, 1 more dataset, 1 more polish, and the start time slides. Counter. Set a ceiling on prep time at 1/6 of the block and force a first pass by minute 15. If then rule. If I cross minute 15 without a first pass, I begin with the ugliest draft now. Phrase. Small today compounds large tomorrow. Begin. Temptation 2. Tool shopping. Pattern. A new app will fix focus and the search becomes the task. Counter. Freeze. Stack for a quarter and write the freeze where you can see it. If then rule. If I think about new tools, I write the idea in a someday box and resume the current block. Phrase. Mastery in a simple stack beats novelty scattered. Begin. Temptation 3. Research loops. Pattern. Gather links, gather quotes, and never convert to output. Counter. Stage research for 5 minutes, then force build. If then rule. If I open a second link before saving the first deliverable, I stop and write the paragraph from memory. Phrase. Research after first draft. Begin. Temptation 4. Comparison. Pattern. Others are ahead, so why start? Counter. Count attempts, not applause, and return to the smallest unit. If then rule. If I compare, I name 1 micro step and execute in 2 minutes. Phrase. Evidence comes from attempts. Begin. Temptation 5. Fatigue narrative. Pattern. I am too tired, so the block vanishes. Counter. Scale block. Do micro start and 10-minute core. If then rule. If energy is low, I still pay the floor. 1 tiny deliverable now. Phrase. Never zero protects identity. Begin. Temptation 6. Uncertainty. Pattern. I do not know the best path, so I wait. Counter. Write a 1-page brief with impact risk next step and move. If then rule. If I feel fog, I write 3 questions whose answers would advance the work and pursue the first. Phrase. Action creates clarity. Begin. Temptation 7. Calendar drift. Pattern. Meetings eat the day and work migrates to never. Counter. Protect 2 hard blocks like a client meeting. If then rule. If a meeting collides, I move the block the same day and cut scope, not the session. Phrase. Scope shrinks, schedule holds. Begin. Temptation 8. Social feeds. Pattern. 5 minutes expands to 50. Counter. Remove the device from the room and install site blocks during deep sessions. If then rule. If I open a feed, I stand, breathe once, and restart the timer. Phrase. Attention is a budget, spend on output. Begin. Temptation 9. Email gravity. Pattern. Inbox first and the day is gone. Counter. Output before input. If then rule. If I touch inbox before the first deliverable, I must ship a micro unit before replying further. Phrase. Ship then sync. Begin. Temptation 10. Feedback fear. Pattern: do not send until perfect. Counter: send a narrow version to one real person early. If then rule: if I cut a third pass I ship to a trusted partner now. Phrase: early small exposure lowers price. Begin. Temptation: 11 long warm-ups. Pattern: ornate rituals that delay the first keystroke. Counter: 2-minute start door timer, smallest file now. If then rule: if the ritual exceeds 2 minutes I start typing rough lines immediately. Phrase: energy available. Begin. Temptation: 12 relapse shame. Pattern: miss a day then miss a week. Counter: same day salvage with the smallest unit. If then rule: if I miss the morning I will pay the floor before sleep. Phrase: one ugly unit preserves the streak. Begin. Temptation: 13 context switching. Pattern: bounce between tasks to escape difficulty. Counter: one tool, one mode, one tab. If then rule: if I open a second mode I close it and return to the named output. Phrase: purity of context increases power. Begin. Temptation: 14 meetings without outcomes. Pattern: talk replaces work. Counter: accept meetings only with a single output and an owner. If then rule: if a meeting lacks output and owner I propose an async doc and leave to build. Phrase: outcomes or decline. Begin. Temptation: 15 over scoping. Pattern: big scope equals big avoidance. Counter: half the scope and start. If then rule: if I delay more than 5 minutes I cut the deliverable in half twice and begin. Phrase: smaller now beats larger later. Begin. Temptation: 16 criticism memory. Pattern: you replay one harsh comment and stall. Counter: read the aim card and the ledger of shift units. If then rule: if a comment loops twice I write one change and implement or archive. Phrase: convert pain to plan. Begin. Temptation: 17 travel and chaos days. Pattern: schedule breaks, identity breaks. Counter: micro rails upon wake and before sleep. If then rule: if schedule is broken I run a 10-minute core with a 2-minute start and record it in the ledger. Phrase: identity rides the floor not the plan. Begin. Temptation: 18 late night loops. Pattern: cannot sleep so you scroll. Counter: one-page brain dump and shut down ritual. If then rule: if the mind loops I write what I know, what I do not know, and the next question, then sleep. Phrase: parking thoughts restores power. Begin. Temptation: 19 slow reviews. Pattern: gather 5 opinions and stall. Counter: 2 gate rule metric aligned feedback only. If then rule: if a comment does not improve the metric I park it. Phrase: focus on what moves the number. Begin. Temptation: 20 emotional spikes. Pattern: breath short and hands freeze. Counter: box breathing in shoulder reset then 2-minute start. If then rule: if breath shortens I run 4x4 then open the smallest file. Phrase: calm is protocol not mood. Begin. Now design a daily counter stack that runs without thinking. Counter stack startup. Card aim allowed once. Door closed timer on smallest file open. 2-minute start script energy available open smallest file name first move. Begin. First micro deliverable saved and named within 7 minutes. Counter stack mid-session. Work in 20 and 5 cycles. End each on cycle with a named micro unit. If distraction appears stand and reset then return. If research urge appears stage 5 minutes then build. If perfection urge appears set a 3-minute polish cap and ship version 1. Counter stack shutdown. Ledger 3 line shipped learned next action. Schedule tomorrow first move at a named hour. Send one small proof to a real person. Stop inputs after shutdown to protect recovery. Build environment counters that make the right action default. Desk counter clear 1 meter and only the tool you need. Door counter sign outside deep work till time and a clock visible. Screen counter single window single dock full screen. Noise counter white noise or silence and a simple physical timer. Light counter consistent morning light to anchor start time. Chair counter posture cue feet flat shoulders back anchor state. Create social counters that transform intention into contracts. Partner ping starting now 20 minutes full send. Friday ledger exchange plan versus shipped and one change for next week. Do not discuss identity, discuss evidence only. Keep the circle small and ruthless about outputs. Install failure recovery protocols so misses do not become spirals. Same-day salvage, pay the floor before sleep, even one paragraph. 48-hour rule, no 2 consecutive days without a shipped unit. 72-hour review, if you miss 2 days run a reset session, 30 minutes to map leaks and patch with explicit if-then rules. 1 week retro, capture 1 cause, 1 fix and 1 support change and resume without drama. Anticipate energy dips across the week and counter with pre-commitments. Monday friction high, use the shortest taxi to take off and ship a micro unit early to tilt the week. Wednesday slump common, run a public micro proof by noon to sustain momentum. Friday polish day, reserve a smaller scope but enforce ship and review so the loop closes clean. Map the sabotage voices and hardwire replies. Voice wait for perfect data. Reply reversible decisions are made fast, begin a small test now. Voice you are behind. Reply late is earlier than never, begin 1 unit now. Voice others are better. Reply attempts create advantage, begin. Voice you might embarrass yourself. Reply small exposure lowers risk, begin. Voice do more research. Reply research after first draft, begin. When stakes are extreme, shrink scope further and keep exposure frequent. If you cannot write the full report, write the table of contents. If you cannot call the investor, write and speak the opening 30 seconds twice. If you cannot cut the full video, record a cold open and a closing now. Short exposure builds tolerance and converts fear to focus. A sample resistance day and the counters that hold. Morning surge, fear of criticism. Run 2 minutes start, write a rough outline in 7 minutes and save version 1. Midday distraction pings. Phone leaves the room and timer resumes 20 minutes on. Afternoon perfection urge. Set a 5-minute polish cap shift to partner for narrow feedback on the metric. Evening fatigue. Run a 10-minute core and pay the floor, then ledger and schedule tomorrow. Remember the principle, fear provides pressure, counters provide plumbing. Every temptation is simply a point where pressure seeks a leak. A crisp rule, a short script and a visible ledger route the pressure into movement. The goal is not to feel fearless, the goal is to act while feeling fear and to let the proof reshape belief. Week 1, prime the engine and prove motion daily. Objective, build reflex, start while afraid, establish never zero floor and visible ledger. Weekly metric, 5 shift micro outputs and at least 4 deep work blocks of 90 minutes. Monday design rails, write the aim card and the price, then block 2 deep sessions on calendar before noon. Place the 2-minute start script on desk and door. Practice 1 dry run, open smallest file, write ugly first line, save version 1 and record a ledger entry. Tuesday execute 2 cycles of 20 on and 5 off, finish 1 micro deliverable such as outline plus 3 bullets, send to 1 real person for narrow feedback on the stated metric, impact risk. Next step, capture feedback in a changelog and schedule the next action. Wednesday repeat, start within 2 minutes even if energy is low, protect never zero with a 10-minute core if schedule collapses, log minutes and shift unit, update scoreboard with streak count. Thursday surface the first constraint leak, reduce scope by half and ship a rough version 1 by a hard ceiling time record proof, then adjust the process, do not shop tools. Friday publish a small public artifact, to post a memo, a demo, complete the 3-line review, ship learn next, then set the first move for Monday and close inputs after shutdown. Weekend optional recovery and skill drilling, 10 minutes each day on 1 micro skill tied to the aim such as cold open delivery or concise executive framing. Week 2 increase throughput and shorten feedback loops. Objective, move from micro to small units, widen the circle of feedback without raising emotional price. Weekly metric, 4 small outputs and 6 to 8 feedback loops with same day or next day iteration. Monday select 2 work streams only, revenue or research or production, and lot tools for the week, run early exposure by noon then revise once before end of day. Tuesday adopt single outcome language for blocks, page 1 draft 1 call 1 test 1 configure environment, counters 1 desk 1 screen 1 door 1 timer, enforce purity of context. Wednesday midweek slump counter, schedule a public micro proof by midday to keep momentum, rename tasks from nouns to verbs which reduces stall, for example from proposal to write risk section now. Thursday run a reversible experiment, decide fast, run narrow test and measure outcome. This trains decision speed under fear and grows belief from evidence. Friday ship a slightly larger artifact and archive a changelog entry, focus on what moved the number not on polish, do the weekly review, intent ship change and reset the rails for the next week. Week 3 raise quality without sacrificing cadence. Objective: keep shipping while improving essentials writing, framing, synthesis, delivery. Weekly metric: 3 medium outputs each with 1 external review and 1 internal rewrite. Monday: choose one quality lever such as clarity or concision. Define a measurable rule: cut 10% words from every draft or 1 idea per paragraph. Apply across work, not just one piece. Tuesday: deepen work by boredom tolerance. Extend one 90-minute block to 2 back-to-back blocks with a short walk between. Hold the never zero rule on bad hours with a 10-minute core. Wednesday: broaden feedback. Invite one senior voice for metric-aligned notes and protect scope with the 2-gate rule. Only comments that improve the stated metric are implemented, others are parked. Thursday: system audit. Find the weakest gate. Desire, faith, knowledge, planning, persistence. Patch with a small drill such as 15 minutes of targeted study or auto-suggestion at wake and shutdown. Friday: publish a medium deliverable to a real stakeholder and request 1-sentence feedback on impact, not style. Log adjustments and update scoreboard in streak. Week 4: consolidate identity and prepare next cycle. Objective: convert habit into identity and produce 1 signature output that integrates the month. Weekly metric: 1 signature output plus a complete monthly retro and a concrete next aim. Monday: map the month, list all shipped units, loop counts, minutes, and key changes. Write a 1-page narrative of capability gained. Identity follows evidence. Tuesday: select the signature piece. Define scope that fits 3 focus days. Perform the 2-minute start ritual and lock inputs until a rough version exists. Wednesday: refine and cut. Use a quality floor and a time ceiling. Finish version 2. Send to 2 reviewers under the 2-gate rule and implement only metric moving changes. Thursday: finalize and ship. Add a brief that states impact, risk, next steps. Send to the audience that matters and schedule the first action that makes next steps real. Friday: run the full retro prompts. What did we intend? What did we ship? What changed our process? What leaks remain? Which counters worked best? Write the next 90-day aim and freeze tools for another quarter. Daily operating rhythm for all 30 days. Wake: read the aim card aloud once. Write a single today sentence: I will ship X by Y, and start before inputs. Start, close door, start timer. Speak energy available, open smallest file name, first move, begin. Work: run 20 on and 5 off, end each on cycle with a named micro unit and save with clear version numbers. Midday: send 1 small proof outside your head such as an outline or a screenshot or a clip. Ask 1 question tied to the metric. Afternoon: second block, repeat ritual if chaos intrudes. Run the 2-minute start and the 10-minute core to protect never zero. Shutdown ledger: 3 lines ship. Learn next schedule tomorrow. First move at a named hour, then stop inputs to protect recovery. Roles and rituals that strengthen the system. Partner role: evidence not therapy. Exchange Friday: ledgers, plan versus shipped and 1 change for next week. Keep circle small and ruthless about outputs. Environment role: 1 meter clear desk, 1 screen, 1 window, a visible clock, a door sign that states deep work till time, a simple mechanical timer or system timer. Language role: today words, not someday words. Name actions begin within 2 minutes. Avoid abstract labels and prefer verbs. Metrics to track and how to read them. Inputs: minutes of deep work, 2-minute starts triggered, micro blocks executed. Outputs: units shipped per week, feedback cycles closed, signature output delivered. Belief indicators: streak length, reduction in time to start, willingness to expose work earlier. If inputs rise and outputs stall, check for research or perfection leaks. If outputs rise with rising belief, extend scope slightly next week while preserving cadence. Example calendar for a typical week. Monday: block 1 draft outline 5 bullets. Block 2 write first section and send narrow feedback request. Midday: micro proof and evening ledger. Tuesday: block 1 incorporate data and revise. Block 2 record rough walkthrough and log change list. Wednesday: block 1 cut 10% words. Block 2 restructure weak sections, send to reviewer and request 1 metric comment. Thursday: block 1 implement metric aligned changes. Block 2 polish visuals and run out loud review. Friday: block 1 publish and send next step. Ask. Block 2 weekly review and reset next aim and rails. Contingency playbook for chaotic days. If travel, remove perfection and run 2 10-minute cores. Bookend the day, log them to preserve identity. If meetings fill the morning, move 1 deep block to the earliest free slot and shrink scope. Do not delete the block. If emotional spike, use box breathing 4x4 and enact the micro start within 2 minutes. Record the action to reinforce belief. If you miss a day, apply same day salvage before sleep. Never zero prevents slide and the streak. Resumes tomorrow. Templates you can copy now. Aim card: my aim is to deliver X for Y by Z. The metric is a per week. I will pay B minutes daily and C deep blocks weekly. I accept D discomfort, any feedback loops. 2-minute start energy available, open smallest file name, first move, begin. Ledger fields date start end output minutes proof next action remarks. Weekly review intended shift change. Feedback request please comment on impact only if this does not move the stated metric I will park it for later. Expected outcomes by day 10, day 20 and day 30. Day 10 you start within 2 minutes by reflex and have a streak of shipped micro units belief rises. Day 20 you run 2 deep blocks most days and close small feedback loops without drama cadence stabilizes. Day 30 you ship a signature output have a month of ledger proof and a story of identity update I act in the presence of fear becomes description not aspiration. Closing the month and opening the next. Archive the ledger export a summary of minutes units loops and key changes write a one-page personal case study include what moved the metric and what leaked energy choose one gate to strengthen next month and set the new aim freeze tools again and keep the rails. Fear is pressure in the system that will either leak into delay distraction and perfection or be routed by design into motion and measurable results so we name the surge as energy set a definite chief aim with a visible price and run a fast sequence that begins within 2 minutes with the smallest concrete move continues through cycles that end in micro deliverables and closes each day with a 3-line ledger because evidence is the only form of belief that compounds under real-world load and because identity updates only when outputs exist not when intentions repeat. Discipline is the plumbing that carries this pressure across 5 gates desire faith specialized knowledge organized planning and persistence and the gates are kept open by rails that survive whether a morning rail that starts before inputs a deep work rail that protects single channel focus with one tool one mode and one tab and an evening rail that drains noise and preloads tomorrow while counters patch the common leaks like tool shopping research loops, comparison and perfection by using clear if then rule small exposure early feedback and a never zero floor that pays the tax on bad days so momentum remains a property of the system not a product of mood. Growth is the compounding effect that arrives when proof raises belief and belief lowers friction which increases action which improves results which returns stronger proof and this loop turns fear from a stop sign into a navigational signal as you move through weekly cadences of shipping learning and adjusting execute the 5-step protocol and the 30-day plan that makes cadence habitual and reputation visible and read the aim card speak. The start script begin before comfort protect the block record the unit request metric align feedback and repeat until your calendar tells a story your words cannot deny that you act in the presence of fear and that the wind which once pushed you backward now fills the sail that carries you forward. I stand in the presence of fear and I call it energy and I decide my direction before the world speaks and I begin within 2 minutes with the smallest concrete move because motion manufactures clarity and clarity manufactures proof and proof strengthens belief and belief lowers friction so that the same pressure that once stalled me now drives the work forward and I protect this conversion with rails that survive any weather or morning. Rail that starts before inputs a deep work rail that guards. Single channel focus with one tool one mode and one tab and an evening rail that drains noise and preloads the very next action so that my calendar shows outputs not intentions and my reputation is built on receipts not rhetoric and whenever resistance appears I answer with the counters I have chosen and I pay the floor today even on a hard day because never zero preserves identity and identity preserves momentum and momentum turns courage from a rare event into a daily craft. I affirm my definite aim in clear language and I state the price I will pay in minutes and sessions and in honest exposure and I keep the aim card visible and the ledger visible and the scoreboard visible because what is visible guides behavior and what is measured compounds and I speak simple scripts that cut through fog energy available open smallest file name first move begin and I respect ceilings on time and floors on quality so that perfection cannot tax progress and distraction cannot tax attention and I let feedback arrive early in small loops under the 2-gate rule so only what moves the metric is implemented while the rest is parked without drama and I move by cycles of 20 on and 5 off and I end each cycle with a named micro deliverable saved and versioned because version work is real work and real work attracts reality and reality teaches faster than imagination. I remember that discipline is not punishment it is design and service and I align my effort with the benefit of others customers partners teammates and future listeners so that meaning absorbs discomfort and challenge becomes rehearsal not trial and I keep decisions tight and reversible when they can be tight and I make them fast once the minimal data exists and I reserve deep thought for the few decisions that are truly hard and truly expensive to unwind and I protect the channel by removing extra options because options tax action and I choose smaller now over larger later and I choose ship today over promise tomorrow and I choose early exposure over late surprise and I choose to risk a small embarrassment in exchange for large learning because courage invested at the start returns compounding confidence at the finish. I close each day with 3 honest lines: what I shipped, what I learned, and what I will do first tomorrow at a named hour. And I send one proof beyond my head to a real person. And I sleep with decisions made, not deferred. And I wake to the aim card. And I start before the world starts. And I carry forward the simple truth that fear is pressure in the system and pressure is power when routed by design. And my design is now installed and tested and maintained by use. And the more I use it, the stronger it becomes, and the stronger it becomes, the more I can ask of myself and the more value I can deliver to others. And this is my identity. I act in the presence of fear. I act with clarity and cadence. I act on schedule until results speak louder than doubt. And the wind that once pushed me back now fills my sail and carries me forward. You watch the mechanism, now make it visible, because private intention decays and public proof compounds. Use this comment section as your first ledger entry and your first contract. Keep it simple, keep it measurable, keep it today. Post your commitment in one line using this template. Today I will ship 1 unit defined as X by Y o'clock because my aim is Z. Examples. Today I will ship 1 page of the memo by 1700 because my aim is to secure the pilot this quarter. Today I will ship 1 cold email by 1830 because my aim is to book 3 discovery calls this week. Today I will ship 1 3-minute draft video by 2000 because my aim is to publish weekly. Add the price you will pay and the floor you will protect. Price: I will pay 30 minutes of deep work and 1 exposure to feedback. Floor: never 1 ugly unit even if the day collapses. Pin this rule to your own comment so you cannot negotiate it later. 2 minutes start now. Open smallest file name. First move begin. When you feel the surge, reply to your own comment with a 1-word stamp: begun. When you finish, reply again with shipped and a 6-word outcome, for example outline done, numbers missing, or version 1 sent to manager. If you want tighter accountability, tag 1 person who will ask for the receipt by end of day. Keep the S clean. Ask me at 1900 if I shipped 1 unit. If yes, I will state the next step. If no, I will pay the floor before sleep. Use one of these ready scripts to lower friction at the exact moment you usually stall. If you think I need more research, type research after first draft. Begin and start the paragraph now. If you think I am late, type late is earlier than never. Begin and send the draft now. If you fear criticism, type small exposure lowers price. Begin and ship to 1 person now. Choose one of 3 micro challenges and write its code in your comments so others can find you. Code F 15 days of 1 shipped unit per day. Code D 90 minutes of deep work daily for 10 days. Code E 2 early exposures per week for 4 weeks. Your comment could read like this: F15 today I will ship 1 page by 1700. Price 30 minutes plus 1 exposure. Floor: never 0. Metrics make behavior stick, so track 2 numbers in your replies for the next 7 days. Deep minutes: total minutes of focused work on the decisive task. Unit shipped: number of finished micro outputs, not hours, not effort, not vibes. Write them at the end of your day like this: deep minutes 95 units shipped 1. Invite a partner now with a clean proposition. Reply to this message if you want to exchange Friday ledgers planned versus shipped and 1 change for next week. Evidence only, no therapy. Then follow through by posting your 2 columns each Friday: plan, ship, and change for next week. If you lead a team, use the comments to seed a small culture change. Paste this short policy and get 3 colleagues to post beneath it. Outputs before inputs: 2 protected blocks, never 0. Floor: Friday review, intent, ship, change. Ask each person to reply with a 1-line weekly output definition and a single metric. This converts enthusiasm into operating rhythm. Use the 8-minute public loop right here and repeat it for 3 days. Minute 1, post the commitment. Minutes 2 to 5, do the 2-minute start and the first 5 minutes of ugly lines. Minute 6, reply, begun. Minute 7 to 8, set calendar for the next block and close the tab. Later return with a single word shipped plus your 6-word outcome. This loop is small on purpose. Small loops are cheap to repeat. Cheap repetition becomes reputation. For creators and founders, add a commercial edge to your comment thread so the work points somewhere real. Use one of these outbound prompts when you post your shipped unit. If this draft solves your problem, reply need and I will prioritize the next iteration. If you want the memo template, reply template and I will share the exact fields. If you want the call script, reply script and I will post the version I use. Outcomes over applause: build a line of sight from action to customer to value. If you miss today, do not vanish. Use the same thread and write same day salvage, then post the smallest unit you completed, even if it is a title, a table of contents, or a rough opening line. The streak matters because identity follows streaks, not speeches. If you ship today, raise the bar by 1 notch tomorrow, not 5, not 10, 1 notch more scope or 1 more loop of feedback or 1 tighter time ceiling. Write the notch in your closing reply so you cannot forget it tomorrow. For those who want a weekly cadence, copy this comment skeleton and paste it every Monday under your own thread. Week plan: 3 outputs metric align, 2 feedback loops per output, tools frozen for the week. Monday, outline and early exposure. Tuesday, first pass in numbers. Wednesday, cut 10% and restructure. Thursday, implement metric comments and polish. Friday, publish and retro intent ship change. At the end of the week, reply with the actuals and 1 sentence of process change. Keep the sentence plain, focus on what moved the number. Finally, tell the community what you will deliver that helps others, so service anchors your persistence. Examples: I will post a stripped memo template Friday. I will share a cold open checklist after 2 drafts. I will release a 1-page briefing format for exec readouts. When your aim benefits someone else, meaning absorbs discomfort and fear, converts to focus faster. Time to move. Do not bookmark this video and promise tomorrow. Post the line now, read it aloud once, run the 2-minute start and return only to write begun, then return later to write shift. The distance between watching and winning is a single typed line. In the first ugly paragraph you have the mechanism, you have the words, use them. In this episode you built a working engine that routes fear into motion. You labeled the surge as energy. You began within 2 minutes. You protected deep blocks. You recorded proof. You let belief grow from evidence, not theory, not slogans, an operating system. Next we move to a truth that Napoleon Hill repeats in different clothes: confidence is not a fuel you pour in before you start, it is the exhaust that appears after the engine runs. Confidence does not precede action, it proceeds from action. If you flip that order you will wait forever. Our next chapter is titled Grow Confidence by Acting Now. It will install the shortest bridge between hesitation and conviction so you can scale bolder bets without waiting for a feeling called ready. Here is the promise: you will leave the next episode with a compact field guide that manufactures confidence on demand by using 3 levers: speed, scope, and proof. Speed collapses the time between idea and first move. Scope shrinks the unit until the nervous system can lift it. Proof is captured in stack visibly to update self-image and stakeholder trust. The loop is fast enough to run daily and strong enough to carry heavier loads each week. What will you learn? First, the physics of confidence, why it behaves like momentum, why it resists you at rest and obeys you in motion, why small forces applied quickly beat large forces applied rarely. Second, the confidence stack, a sequence that starts with a 2-minute strike move, continues with a 10-minute core, and locks with a visible receipt. Third, the ladder of exposure, a 5-rung path from private attempt to public delivery that prevents emotional overload while growing social proof. Fourth, the risk throttle, a way to tune difficulty so growth stays in the optimal zone, not soft, not suicidal. Finally, the compounding cycle, a calendar and scoreboard that converts single wins into a durable posture you can bring to bigger rooms and bigger stakes. You will also get language tools so you can talk to fear without theater and talk to partners with clarity. Expect simple scripts to start calls, ship drafts, open meetings, and close decisions. They are short on purpose. State the aim, name the next step, fix the clock, and move. Confidence grows in the doing, not in the debating. We will run live scenarios: sales call you have avoided, product demo that scares you, executive memo that could change your lane, investment outreach that matters. Each one will be broken into 3 strikes: strike 1 within 2 minutes, strike 2 within the hour, strike 3 before sleep. You will see how early receipts reverse the emotional gradient, so starting becomes cheaper than stalling. If you lead a team, the next episode will translate personal confidence into cultural cadence. You will learn how to install outcomes before inputs as a shared rule, how to use narrow early exposure to lower the price of feedback, how to replace performative polish with version delivery, and how to make the scoreboard the center of gravity. Confidence becomes a property of the system, not a perk of a few loud voices. Between now and the next release, run a simple bridge exercise. Pick one task that carries meaning and mild fear and execute the 3-strike pattern now. 2-minute strike, open the smallest file, write 5 bullet lines or dial and leave a clear 30-second message. 10-minute core, produce 1 micro deliverable and save version 1 before sleep. Send proof to 1 real person and log the receipt. If the day collapses, pay never zero. You are not proving worth, you are training physics. The goal is a clean rep, not a heroic marathon. Use this comment thread or your own ledger to post your receipt, title of task, timestamp, version number, what you shipped, what you learned, what you will do first. Next session, keep the format tight so you can repeat it daily. Repetition is the cradle of confidence. You are not manifesting a mood, you are manufacturing a posture with evidence thick enough that the mind stops arguing. For those who want to run ahead, prepare these materials for the next episode. A 1-paragraph aim that requires you to be seen by someone who matters. A short list of reversible decisions you have delayed. A template for receipts that you can show a manager, a client, or a partner. Confidence grows faster when proof is legible. Subscribe and turn on notifications if you want the next module to meet you at the moment you usually hesitate. We will publish the field guide, the scripts, and the scoreboard is downloadable text so you can paste them into your workflow. No banners, no fluff, just tools. If this episode helped you execute say what you shipped today in one line, name the action, the time, and the outcome. Evidence helps the next viewer and it helps you. Each receipt you post lowers the cost of the next start. You do not need to believe more to act, you need to act more to believe. Preview of Grow Confidence by Acting Now. Part 1, break the myth of confidence and replace it with physics and receipts. Part 2, the 2-minute strike, the 10-minute core, and the hour close. Part 3, the ladder of exposure from private practice to public delivery. Part 4, the risk throttle and the safe to fail arena. Part 5, the compounding calendar, 7 days to a visible posture. Part 6, leadership translation, build team confidence with outcomes, rituals, and scoreboards. Bring your hesitation, bring your best excuse, bring one decision you have been carrying like a stone. We will turn it into steps and receipts and a schedule. You will feel the shift not because I said words but because you did work.